Welcome to Black Gumbo. We're going to put a cover over this bed. This bed here will be ready to receive my cabbage plants in about a week to a week and a half after I harden them off and get the little seedlings used to being outdoors. The problem is I live in Zone 9A, and Zone 9A we have winter, sort of, and it can snow once maybe every few years, but we get frost for sure. But we also get snaps where it's warm enough where insects and bugs can re-emerge. And I don't want any of those cabbage moths and cabbage loopers and cabbage, all those things that come and eat your cabbage, to have easy access to my plants. And so we're going to put it's like a row cover, but it covers the whole garden. And we're going to put that over here, and we're going to put some cloth on top of that to exclude the moths that lay the eggs, that hatch the caterpillars that eat my cabbage. Now my first thought was I can do what everyone else is doing, take some 1/2-inch PVC pipe, form it into a hoop, and place hoops over my bed here, and then I can put the cloth over that. And I thought, well, I see everybody using rebar to stake these into the ground. I thought, well, I don't have any rebar, but I have these tubes, this hollow tube that was part of a pepper trellis system that I don't really care to use. It was too much trouble than it's worth, so I thought I'll take the pieces down. They're just about the right size, and I'll use them as stakes. I'll shove them in the ground and slide my PVC over the top, and I'll be fine. But there was a problem. I bent that one too. Yeah, looks like I'm going to need rebar. There's the problem. They bend. So I had to go and get some proper stakes today, and I picked up these 2-foot long rebar. This is a 3/8-inch rebar, and these will keep. So I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to drive them into the garden leave about 4 or 5 inches, maybe 6 inches exposed, and that'll be plenty for my hoops to snuggle down on and rest. So let's get started with that. I'll show you how it's done. You just take your rebar and you drive it in with a hammer. I've already got a hole there from my previous pipe, but I can drive this down even further into my ground until there's about that much sticking up. I might give a little bit more there. There we go. There we go. There's our hoop structure. What I'm going to do next is in the middle, I'm going to take another PVC pipe, 1/2 inch, and I'm going to zip tie it on the underside all the way across down the middle, just to give some back and forth structure to the whole thing, some stability. There we go. Now I have a coupler. You just slide that on, and for what we're doing here, you don't even need to glue it, and you'll just put the other end in there to fill the length that we need. And on each end I'm going to put one of these caps, just because I don't want bugs getting all in there. Yeah, it's air show weekend. We're going to have lots of noise. I'm just going to use some zip ties. Now these are probably not the strongest zip ties. They'll do the job for now, and I can come back later and put some heavier ones on. But this is what I have on hand. This is what I'm going to use. There we go, and that's all there is to that. So you can see that adds some stability to the whole structure. Now here's a case where I could have measured a little bit better, but that's okay. The structure is done. Now all we need to do is put our cloth over the top. That's going to be a 2-person job. So what I'm using to cover my rows is this Agrabon AG15 material. It is a spun material, and you can see it's very thin. lets 90% of the light through, but it's so fine that insects can't really get through there. I don't even think spider mites would easily get through there. It's nice thin stuff. It seems pretty strong. It's very lightweight. You could actually use this as a cover directly on your plants if you just draped it over your garden beds, and it will do just fine. So when you buy this stuff, I got this from Amazon, Agribon AG15. Be mindful of the width of the cloth and the length of the cloth, because I had to calculate my hoop size. Being 9 feet long in an arch, I needed enough material to cover that arch, and I wanted some left over on either side on the bottom so that I could devise a system to easily lift my cloth up and put it back down by myself without having to have someone help me all the time. I'll also be using these clips. These plastic clips are 1/2 inch PVC size, and they literally are made for clipping things to pipe. And so I'll show you how to do that as well. Let's see. Right about there. Now, if the wind doesn't blow it off. So what we're going to do is use these clips, and they literally clip over the cloth and hold it down so it doesn't do that. And we're going to clip these down. I'm going to put 4 of these on each hoop. Alright, let me show you how these things work. They literally just clip on as easy as that. And you can trim off this excess if you want to, but you want to leave yourself enough so that you can gather it up around the bottom here. And I'm just going to use a clamp. I've got these nice clamps to clamp the bottom together here. The weight of that clamp will just keep that down. I'll probably cut off this tag end for tidiness. That's it. Now if I stopped here, I should be fine, because I've got my clips down low enough on the posts that this cloth is down against the brick. That would probably be fine to exclude the moths and the butterflies. I may come back and put a little pole or a post or something along there to weigh it down, but I'll wait and do that after I plant. But there we go. Couldn't be easier. You're not afraid of jets, but you're afraid of thunder? What's that about, huh? Now, I have already punched a hole with my thumb in this cloth, so I'm going to find out if I can take some spray glue and patch it with a little square of the cloth, because that little hole is just enough for an insect to get through. And so that's always the downfall of these very light cloths. They are quite fragile if you're really manhandling them. And I stretched it a little too far, putting a clip on, and punched my thumb right in there. So there's a thumb-size hole. But there's a way to fix it. At the very least, duct tape always fixes things, right? But there we go. We have a hoop over the garden now. And that will exclude the cat, that will exclude bugs, it will allow 90% of the light in, and it will give a nice stable environment for our cabbages to grow. With that overhang, I may have to go along here and put some bricks. I've done a couple bricks on the other side to see if it'll work. I could also do a pole along there like I had originally planned, and that pole will allow me to roll it up as I can come out here and just roll it up on that pole and work in my garden without this thing blowing away. We'll get to that later. For now, I'm just happy this is done. Just by way of update, we have peppers still growing in the garden. Our radishes are doing great. There's 3 different varieties there. Got some beets coming up over here. Got some carrots doing well. Carrots are going to need to be thinned, especially those right in there. Then over here, we've got our carrots coming up in containers. This was our video on sowing carrot seeds in containers. They're doing great. Yeah, so things are looking good in the garden. I'm encouraged. Thanks for joining me on Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. Appreciate you stopping by. We have an Instagram account, we have a Facebook page, and we'd really love if you'd come follow us there. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, we'd appreciate if you'd subscribe to our channel and share our videos. That really helps us and encourages us. And I thank all of you who already have. Man, we've had a good fall. I've been really surprised with the performance of videos in this fall. And so I'm very thankful. I'm very grateful. Well, we'll see you next time. Happy gardening to you. Bye-bye.